All right, so 6.2, we are verifying trig identities. And we're so excited about that, right? Okay, so we're just going to kind of jump in with an example because that's going to be the easiest way to talk through this. So we want to verify that 1 plus tangent theta is equal to secant times cosine theta plus sine theta. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
You're fine with this?
Yeah.
Can you guys see April? It's really bright outside, so yeah, we're good. I just kind of got up and did it, but I really couldn't see the TV.
I had them off this morning. All right, so we are going to, when you're verifying identities, basically we're going to work with only one side of them. We're just trying to prove that, like, one side is going to be equal to the other. So and we want to typically start with the more complicated side, if there is one, or the more complex side. And we want to, like, simplify it and reduce it down so that it matches the other side. So using our identity. So, like, this time we're going to work with the right side because it's got more stuff to it, right? Yeah. And we want to make it look like 1 plus tangent theta. So this is not like the homework where we were trying to just use sine and cosine. We just want to do whatever we need to make it match that other side. So we've got more of like an end goal in mind this time.
Are we just trying to make them both match and then that's it?
Yeah, we're only working with the right side. So you're only ever going to work with one side.
So like you want 1 equals 1 or like cosecant?
Like, so at this point we want like 1 plus tangent equals 1 plus tangent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you want it to equal itself?
Yes. We're just trying to prove that that's true, basically.
So we're trying to prove that this is right, this is true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are going to take our identities and we're going to kind of manipulate them. So we know that, again, so we're only working with this side right here. And we know that we need a tangent. So what are some things we know about tangent?
Tangent equals sine over cosine.
Right, so we can write it as sine over cosine. So that means on our right side, we probably need to, I forgot a theta. So it's secant theta times that. I'm sorry. It's not the secant of all that. That's way more complicated. Right, so we need to then change that secant probably to what? 1 over cosine. Right, because we know that tangent can be made up of sine and cosine. So let's get rid of the secant. So secant is going to become 1 over cosine. And then it's just times our cosine theta plus sine theta. So then let's go ahead and distribute that through. So cosine times 1 over cosine is just cosine over cosine. And then when we multiply it to the sine theta, that's going to give us sine theta over cosine theta.
And then it turns into cosine theta plus sine theta over cosine theta.
No. All right, remember what we're trying to get to. So what does cosine over cosine equal to?
1.
1.
So 1 plus sine theta over cosine.
And what is sine over cosine? Tangent.
Okay. Oh, that was cool.
Okay, that's so much better.
I told you it would get better.
I enjoy this now.
Yeah, but you had to learn how to plug in the stuff first. So, I had to torture you just a little bit to make this make sense. So for this one, we will do cotangent squared beta times 1 plus tangent squared beta is equal to 1 over 1 minus cosine squared beta.
I thought you were saying theta the whole time, so I wrote theta the whole time.
That's okay, just stick with it.
So we do the right side first?
I would do the left side. Just because it's going to be easy to turn cotangent into a fraction rather than have to deal with the fraction and have to like end up flipping and multiplying and condensing. Like, I think it's easier to work. In this case, it's going to be easier to work with the left side. You could really do it either way. Like, it doesn't matter as long as you do it. But I think it would be easier in this case to work with the left. So, what do we know about cotangent?
Cotangent equals to cosine over sine.
Right, so let's take our cotangent and make it cosine over sine. So we're going to take that and make it
squared?
Yes.
And then 1 plus 1.
All right, and then what do we know about tangent?
Equals sine over cosine.
Right, so let's go ahead and make tangent sine over cosine. Right, because again, we know that we're going to need to get a cosine squared in there somehow. So if we go ahead and change stuff to get cosines in it, it's going to be, we know we're partly there. So,
Do you distribute?
I would distribute, yes.
Oh, brain not working.
So we're going to take this, multiply it by 1, which is just going to make that cosine squared over sine squared. And then we multiply it to that one. So we've got a cosine on top and a cosine on the bottom.
Wait, I messed that up.
So that just completely cancels out.
Right, and then we've got a sine on top and a sine on bottom.
So that completely
That's right, so those are going to cancel, which means that's just going to be a plus 1.
Okay.
I did not see that coming.
That makes sense. I always forget to substitute a 1 though, so I would just make it 9 in this case.
Yeah, so just because, like, when you multiply and stuff cancels out, you still have to have that 1 as a placeholder there when you're multiplying. So then now we need to
Square root?
Nope. Oh, no.
Subtract.
No, there's not. How do we add those together?
Multiply by cosine.
What do we have to do to add a fraction to another number?
Get a
Divide.
denominator.
Get a common denominator.
Oh, you're right. I see now.
So that means we're going to take that 1 and make it sine squared over sine squared.
Yeah. Just cut that entire part out of the figure.
No. Oh, I should have done that in blue. I'm just going to circle it. It should be blue. All right, and then we can combine together. So that is going to become cosine squared plus sine squared over sine squared. And what is, going over here, what is cosine squared plus sine squared equal to? 1.
What is it?
Cosine squared plus sine squared. So the top part is equal to 1. All right, so remember We're trying to get 1 over 1 minus cosine squared. And right now we have 1 over sine squared. So what is sine squared also equal to?
1 minus cosine squared.
1 minus cosine squared. So that means we now have 1 over 1 minus cosine squared. And we did it.
When I'm stumped, I just look at the page and I'm like, please have the answer, please have the answer.
It does have all the answers technically, you just have to know how to use it.
All of them. Oh, no. Why are there plus or minus? Change sine over cosine?
No. What else can we change tangent
1
to?
over cotangent.
Yeah, so let's make tangent 1 over cotangent.
So now it's 1 over cotangent theta times 1 over cotangent theta. And then, I don't know what else to do. I'm lost.
Yeah, you do. How do we subtract on the bottom?
Flip. You need a common denominator.
We need a common denominator. Again. It's a beautiful face you're making, Ariel. All right, so we're going to multiply that by cotangent over cotangent, which is going to give us a cotangent squared theta over cotangent, and then minus our 1 over cotangent. Just putting a box around this so I can find it later. What? No, because that's just going to put us back where we were. So we need to combine now. We need to actually subtract. So that's going to be cotangent squared theta minus 1 over cotangent theta. Oh, and all of that's like that. Sorry, I switched the slide accidentally.
So now
we have
we
to.
cancel out a cotangent. Oh wait.
No, we flip it and multiply. So we're basically doing 1 times cotangent theta over cotangent squared theta minus 1. And then we don't really need the 1, so then we did it.
We did it. Yeah.
So you have 1 over cotangent squared minus 1 over cotangent. So like you're doing 1 divided by that fraction on the bottom. And when you divide by a fraction, you flip it and multiply.
But it's just 1, so it's just flipping.
Basic, yes. All right, so for today, let's go ahead and start working on page 111, 1 through 12.
1 through 12 is a lot.
It's really not, though.